Hello, and welcome to a very special episode of the Militia Madness MTG Podcast.
Yeah.
We've talked about the format, and we've talked about different decks we've liked to play, or what the colors are doing, or we even did a live deck build. But something occurred to me that we've never talked about ourselves.
Who am
So
I?
what we'll be doing is we're gonna have each other create interview questions for each other. So I'm Morgan is in the hot seat
Bah.
today. Normally I think you'd be getting my interview next week, but we are releasing a new series. So next podcast will be a set review type thing, and I don't want to give away too much about anything else. So just hang tight. You will get more updates as the week goes on, and we might even talk about it at the end of this video. But there will be a video coming out explaining what that format is and all of that good stuff. So first and foremost, Morgan, have you got a card?
Wait, I was supposed to have a card?
Think so, right? You're the show. I can go again, but I think you're the card for this.
I just didn't know I was supposed to, so that is very funny.
I got
Let
another one.
me. Okay, if you have one, just do that real quick, because I was just gonna pick a random card out of the stack I have next to me.
The card I was going to talk about. So we'll have you go the next 2 weeks, I guess.
Cool.
But I was going to talk about um, Core Skyfisher, and which is weird because I think that's a pretty good card in Pauper, but it really only gets played in like Paw Gates, and like it used to get played in Boros Bully. But in our format, I think it is even better than it is in regular Pauper. The amount of targets you have actually doesn't diminish that much. You still get both inspectors and like a militia bugler, and like the new April O'Neil is a very good target.
Oh
So
yeah.
yeah, I've been very impressed with putting core Skyfisher and core Skyfisher effects in a lot of my white decks.
Nice. Yeah, I think it's just very versatile. Like, especially just with like all the artifact synergies. Like, you can do a lot with it.
It does a pretty decent aggressive 2 drop because it's just a 2/3 flyer, and you know you can also play it on 3. It kind of functions like a bounce land sometimes,
Mm-hmm.
where you can still hit your land drops. Where if you play it on 2, you bounce an untapped a land that comes into play untapped. You can then play a 1 drop, and it's like you didn't stumble.
Yeah.
So that's a cool thing. It also bounces back like not just creatures, but like tithing blades and experimental synthesizers and blood fountains
Yep.
and a bunch of enchantments. The fact that it's permanent is very good.
Yeah, and then it just
So
trades well in the air very nicely because it's a 2/3, and most air stuff
hmm
has like 2 toughness max.
very good Basilisk Gate target too. It's also very good to put your ores on. It's just
Very,
solid unit of a card.
very much so. Okay.
hmm All right.
Well, shoot me. I mean, shoot.
Okay. Uh, So how this is going to work is I'm going to ask Morgan an amount of questions. We're going to try to keep this podcast to exactly 30 minutes.
Or
So
your pizza's free.
yep, just like pizzas in the Ninja Turtle universe, which is on theme. Um, but yeah, we're just going to get through as many of these as we can. When we do my interview, it'll be Morgan asking the questions. So these questions might be the same, they might be different. We don't know. But first question is, when did you first start playing Magic?
Okay, so that probably would have been around 2011, I want to say, like maybe 2012 at the latest, because it would have been between middle and high school is when I started, because I had just like moved from a middle school where everybody was playing Pokemon to high school where a bunch of people had Magic cards.
Hmm.
Yeah, and like I
Do you
think the
remember
first
what's
set I owned was like M11.
okay? That's what I was gonna ask.
Yeah, so actually that would be closer to 2010 then, but I think I was getting the packs late because I was buying them from Kmart. So it could be any time between like 2010 and 2011 to 12ish.
Good old Kmart, Walmart, Magic the Gathering
Yeah.
packs.
But I remember like having a very big fondness for like the Exalted package from M11, and that was like a lot of like where I started.
Oh yeah, the Squire and the is that where
Yeah,
the
Aven
Knight of
Squire, Knight of Glory, Knight of Malice, I believe, or Knight of Grace,
Infamy?
Knight of Malice. I get Knight of Infamy, Knight of Grace. I get the set from Dominaria confused with the set from M11 because they have such similar
Yeah.
names.
Well, there's also like Knight of this and Knight of that and Knight of this and Knight of
Oh
that
yeah, it's
because
always these four that I confuse specifically though, and I know that.
yeah. I
Because
think
like
Knight of
White
Infamy
Knight,
is
and Black Knight are very easy to find, and like Knight of
yeah,
the Ebon Hand you'll never accidentally figure out.
yeah. Like they all harken back to the Black Knight, White Knight,
Yep, that
protection from each
dichotomy.
other that they just yeah, that kind of stuff.
But I did just like playing them both in the same deck and just be like, oh yeah, now I'm attacking with like a 5 power guy that you can't actually like Doomblade, which seems
Very
very
good.
yeah, because it's a white card that you can't Doomblade, which is nice. Yeah.
Uh, what formats did you play when you started playing Magic? Was it just like kitchen
Kitchen table,
table?
yeah. I didn't know
Yeah.
what a format was until like 2016, like almost like maybe 2015, because it was late into high school. Like I had seen a professor video about like the Blue Eyed Heroic deck and Theros Con standard, and then I had like taken that to like my first FNM. And
Neat.
I also like cajoled a lot of my friends into like building their own standard decks and like doing that too. So we all kind of started to get more competitive at about the same time too, which was nice.
Uh, what was your favorite? What is your favorite card, and what is your least favorite card?
Ooh, favorite card. Okay, that's a interesting one because like I have a lot of cards that are like pet cards to me in like formats and stuff because like I've played a lot of different stuff over the years. So like
Mhm.
I think the card that I try to force the most into anything is Jeskai Ascendancy as a favorite card because
Mm,
I loved playing like further into Con Standard when I started to get more competitive into it and like start to do like more interesting decks was the Jeskai tokens of that and like Hordling Outburst, Stoke the Flames, and doing quote unquote more fair Jeskai Ascendancy, and I love that. And
value
then
based ascendancy.
yeah, value based. And then as I like learned the game more, I got into modern, like learned the Storm deck, and was like, oh, there's a Jeskai Ascendancy combo deck. Okay, I can kind of keep holding this card with me and doing that. Like some other like honorable mentions I do have are like Treasure Mage, like specifically like the nice like full art version, which I had a copy signed by Professor when I played Bluetron because as I said earlier, he got me into Magic, and that was just a nice like little like memento. And then
I
others like
remember losing to that guy a
oh,
lot.
oh yeah, and then Pyromancer's Ascension is also big up there from just like old versions of Storm. I love that card so much.
Hmm.
But then like least favorite card, like do you mean like least favorite to play or play against? Because that is
Both, either one.
okay.
I just asked the questions. You give me the answers.
Whew, man.
Whose line is it anyway?
Honestly, I think like one of my least favorite cards to play against would be like Thoughtseize, just because it just
Mm.
feels like so free and it's like fuck, just does that. But I learned to play around it a lot and it got better. I think like one of the most oppressive things was like grief, like scam modern being like that whole thing,
Mm.
and that was just utterly unfun. Just being like, oh, turn one, okay, you lost two cards out of hand, and I have a 3/2. Oh, I'm gonna die here.
Yeah.
Oh, 1 second, I'm getting talked to for a second.
You're good.
Okay, cool. And then
Yeah.
I guess like just from like a least favorite card in general, like that is such a broad statement because like most of it's like in relative or relative to your experience. But I guess like maybe like if we get into more modern era stuff and like what made the game feel like less fun to play, maybe something in like the energy package or something like that. Like
Mm.
that just made modern feel a lot less diverse.
Yeah.
Because
That
I
makes sense.
yeah, I used to like love just like forcing Storm into like formats where it's like, oh yeah, I can kind of just barely keep up and like see what I can do. Like, I think I like top like 64 to like a date or not an event. I think it was a 5K in Cincinnati like a few years back, and it was like, oh yeah, Orcish Bowmaster exists and stuff like that. So I get to run Fire Ice, which actually like means that my deck is competitive. But now that
Hmm.
like the full energy package is out, it was just like, yeah, I can't even get there. But it was very fun to see like the look on people's faces, just being like, wait, there's a like full on Storm player at like 5 and
Yeah, X,
1.
yeah,
It's like
X and 2 or whatever.
yeah, it's like how the hell. But yeah, like with
Yeah.
Ruby and Modern Horizons 3 stuff, that kind of went out the window for me because I like blue in it.
Yeah, I feel like that's a very good answer. What is your favorite format? And specifically time in that format if we're going with an older format. Or your least favorite, or both.
Favorite format. So, yeah. Yeah, I think honestly, like for like the memories and like the people I was around with, it probably would have been like 2016 Modern, which I do see is a thing now, which is fun. So I could go back and actually play that. But it wasn't about like the format itself. Mainly it was that I was constantly like going to events with people, like going on like 2 hour car rides and like just talking about it and just having a lot of fun. But around there was just really good because there was a bunch of deck diversity and like if you go to an event and play against like in a 7 round tournament, play against 5 different decks, and it'd be like, oh yeah, maybe one of these is the best, but like it's more of a triangle system, and you wouldn't like feel too overwhelmed.
Yeah, and I speak. That's when I got into Modern. Because I think you and I played Modern at around 2016. That might have been around the time when we met.
Yeah, that was when I
Um,
started college, so that would be the year we met.
and it was so much fun because not only would you get like 5 different decks, you get like 5 different strategies too. Right?
Yeah,
Like a mid-range decks, there were
Abzan
combo
Hate
decks.
Bears, Jund,
Yeah, if there was a
Bluetron,
will, there's a
Regular
way.
Tron.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man,
Grixis control was a thing, and it's
yeah,
just
yeah. I know our like a mutual like friend Derek was always on Esper control no matter what the format was doing at that time, which was fun.
what you could do.
Yeah, well,
You know,
at least a mutual
Modern.
friend at that time. I don't know if you talked to him at all anymore, but hey.
No, but that just happens sometimes. You just
Yeah,
grow apart.
exactly.
Do you have a least favorite time to be playing Magic?
Honestly, like not really, because like if I'm playing the game actively, then like I am generally enjoying it. Because if I don't, like it kind of fades into the background, and that would be like more times like the pandemic, because like
Mhm.
it just kind of faded into the background, and then I was like, oh, I'm just playing Hearthstone a lot now because it's online and easily accessible.
Yeah,
So like I haven't had a time where I'm like stomaching bad Magic. I've just kind of like faded out of it for a minute.
I think the closest I've come was when Eldrazi was big in Modern, um,
Yeah.
and then KCI. Those two when those two decks were like really really big, it was kind of what pushed me out of Modern.
I got a little lucky during KCI that nobody around was good enough to play it optimally, and so it was like they would generally just die to themselves, and it was like, okay, cool, so game's over, like, and they don't really feel incentivized to play the deck more because they're not getting success with it.
Hmm.
But yeah, like Eldrazi Winter in Modern was a little bit rough, and I do
Yeah,
enjoy that. But
or like when Modern had like the I don't think Modern was ever a tier 0 format, but it came close a
yeah,
couple times, and those were just boring times to be
yeah,
alive.
Eldrazi
But
Winter, Hogak, Nadu are like the 3 biggest ones I can think of.
yeah, Hogak actually I think made me quit Modern.
Oh man, dang.
All right, what do you, well, it's just like I don't know, they didn't learn. They did it again, so it's just I think Modern is in a much more healthier place now, and I think Standard's in a better place now, but for a while it just got me off of those formats. What's your favorite color in Magic?
I'd generally say blue. Like it just gets access to card draw and like doing like tempo-y things. I don't like the hard control of it. Like I wouldn't say it for counter spells. It's mainly just I like to play like tempo spells. So that's why
Mhm.
like of like the blue like things I prefer is it Jeskai as that because it takes the blue and the more like we're being proactive while just holding up enough stuff that you're not gonna like completely destroy me if I go too much on my own game plan.
Mhm. That makes sense. What have been your favorite decks that you've played in
Okay.
any format? Could even be Militia.
I think like some of the most fun I've had is on just real janky, cheap stuff because it's a place where it's like you don't have to like care as much because you know it's not like something amazing. So I remember there was this brew in early, I want to say it was Pioneer, which is it was Smothering Tithe before Smothering Tithe was with a big commander card. So I got them super cheap, and I got Dovin's Acuity, which I don't remember if that's the card that only just draws you one, but let me just double check the wording because there was a big windfall effect for 7 mana that puts a permanent into play. Yeah, it's not Dovin's Acuity, but Dovin's Acuity was an engine piece, which gains 2 life, draws a card if you cast an instant during sorcery speed. You draw a card, or you return it back to your hand.
Oh yeah, there was the 7 mana. It had addendum, didn't it?
Yeah,
It was like
the 7 mana addendum thing that puts a permanent into play, and you would use that to put Thousand Year Storm into play, or like, and hopefully at that point you'd have a Smothering Tithe out, so you'd put Thousand Year Storm into play. The Smothering Tithe would then get you 7 mana back because you windfell your opponent, and then now you can kind of storm off because you have all this treasure and a Thousand Year Storm in play, hopefully hitting another one of those to then do it like 3 times because it has Storm. And I remember taking that to like a couple SCG events and just being like, not doing amazing, but like going fairly even and just having a lot of fun with it because it was jank and it was interesting.
That's awesome. I think the first deck I remember you being pretty consistent about was Mono Blue Tron.
Yeah.
When I met you, you were the Mono Blue Tron person.
Yeah, I got it after I got like the first version of Storm, but Storm is annoying to learn in Pilot, so I kind of set it down and like started to learn more about interaction with Mono Blue Tron because I was like, okay, like this is going to be an easier like way to, I say easier, but like a more intuitive way to learn the format and like what's going on because I'm actually interacting with my opponents a lot more. And also it has a lot less anxiety because I didn't have to think as much about like myself while doing it. I had to just be like, okay, think about what your opponent can do. And I think that did help make me a better player because that is a lot of like what being really good at a format is, especially like formats with a limited card pool. So like modern, standard, like with vintage, like there eventually becomes that. But if you have less cards to think about, it's easier to learn, which is very nice for me because it would be like something that I would tell people a lot when I was coaching Hearthstone and stuff like that is, oh, you don't have to know every single card they could have. You just have to know like the 5 playable cards that are good. And so playing a reactive deck starts teaching you, okay, what are the cards I'm looking out for that I need to counter? And that with Mono Blue Tron was very nice, especially just because it was like a lot of being like, okay, I get weird board states, which actually I can tell a very fun story about like my favorite Mono Blue Tron thing.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so I want to say this was actually the round after I played against, I think it was like Owen Turtenwald or something like that randomly, and got my ass kicked. And it
Owen Turtenwald.
It was at a GP, and it was like 3 rounds in, so 3 rounds in I lost to him. Round 4 comes, I'm X1. I play against Lantern Control on Mono Blue Tron. What ends up happening is I board in Surgical Extractions. I surgicaled both of his removal cards, which he had multiple of. So he had no removal left, and get a Platinum Angel out. But then he mills every single other way I have to win the game and gets rid of it. And what ends up happening is he gets an Ensnaring Bridge down. Neither of us can win the game. Just actually factually impossible. So we call a judge over, and the judge says, okay, well, they're using Academy Ruins to put something back on top of their deck so they can't mill out. So they're the one who's constantly taking an action that is not furthering the game state. So eventually they have to stop. Meaning that I win the game because my way of not losing just does not cause any situation. Like, I can't control it anymore. And just a judge coming over and being like to my opponent, yeah, you have to lose. You have to stop trying. Yeah.
It's like you're fighting a boxing match and God just comes down and like, no, bro. Get out of here.
Which obviously they did appeal to the L2, and the L2 just comes over and it's like, yeah, like, you can ask your opponent, aka me, if they would like a draw, but they don't have to say yes. And then they're just like, you want to draw? Yeah, I'm gonna have to say no. Sorry, like this is comp REL.
Yeah.
And so that was just very fun.
And it wasn't like you did that in game 1, right? Like you're incentivized to not take the draw, so you win game 2, and then it is a draw.
Yeah, it was either game 2 or game 3, and that ended the match.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was.
You don't want to take the draw because if you take the draw there, you lose.
Yeah. It's like I just love a judge having to come over and be like, "You gotta lose," like, because judges normally are incentivized to not do that kind of thing. Because the only
That's
other like viable action they had on the board was to pop their picks as a pandemonium, and they knew if they popped their picks as a pandemonium, like it would give me stuff back that would win me the game. Not to mention that if they just stopped putting a land on top, they were going to lose no matter what anyway.
yeah,
Or not a land, but an artifact on top.
that's hilarious. All right, the next question I have for you is, what is your favorite set? This could be a draft set or like a story set or a set that you really liked in the standard, anything like that.
Ooh, gosh. Okay. Hmm. Yeah, because
Favorite plane, even favorite block.
I have a lot of fondness for Konzatark here because it was the first time I really sat down and read the lore, and it was honestly
Mm,
real interesting, just like learning like the whole. So I guess like the most interesting like for like familiarity and like of the set was Fate Reforged, which I know is a uncommon opinion, but it like I was reading the story then, and it was like, oh, this is like where all the cool like plot stuff happens. Where
mhm.
okay, Sarkin goes back in time because he wants dragons again, and Ugin's like, hey, that's probably a bad idea. And then like it's like, nope, dragons, and it's like, okay, I guess we have a full alternate timeline.
Yeah.
And what also sparks like the whole like War of the Spark storyline because it's what ends up like getting like Nicol Bolas to like show up and do his like crazy shit again.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, oh man. So I guess I'll pick that, but like I do have like a lot of fondness for like as I said before like M11 and like a lot of the cards around then just because like it's kind of boring for that to be a core set, but like you never forget like the first like cards that you were introduced to the game with. Like if I see a
Yeah.
Palaka worm, I'm still like, oh fuck yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. I was. I think it was. Yeah. M11 as well. I get a real. Every time I see Knight of Infamy, I'm like, yeah. Core sets were just so much fun.
Oh
You
yeah.
know, you just open 6 packs and you just play Magic. Like it was just, you know,
God, Kitchen
they were
Table was
nice.
just very good.
Everyone's on a pretty even playing level too.
You know, you know the thing about it, you
We're-
probably don't get that as much anymore, like full on kitchen table, because like internet resources are just so accessible.
Yeah.
And like obviously in like 2010, 2011, like they were pretty accessible. There just were like a bunch of like compilation sites saying what the best decks were. Then like you could still
Mhm.
like look up like every card in the set, which I honestly just didn't because it never really occurred to me. Like you don't I guess get as much in unintentional ignorance. Like a lot of times like if somebody's like, oh yeah, like I don't want to like look into like what the best decks are, they're doing it intentionally nowadays.
Yeah, you almost have to go out of your way to not be exposed to that kind of content, especially with like YouTube algorithms and stuff. Like you watch anything Magic related, you're gonna get like MTG Goldfish being like, "These are the best decks in Pauper," or like
Yeah.
stuff like that. So, um, what this is an interesting question because I don't actually know the answer to this. I did know the answer to favorite set. I figured you were gonna say Concept Art here. I think you are maybe one of 6 people that prefer Fate Reforged over cons, which is interesting.
Yeah. Well, it's like I
Um,
started playing during cons and Fate Reforged was, or not playing, but like playing more seriously during cons.
yeah.
Then Fate Reforged was released. Then I remember like being like, oh, I actually like looking at the spoiler season. I see like Soulfire Grandmaster, and I'm like, that is the fucking coolest card ever.
Hmm. Um, what do you think your favorite mechanic apart from Storm? Because I think we're there.
I don't think
But
I would
apart
even
from
call
that,
Storm my favorite mechanic, just because like I like the decks, but it's not like that interesting in itself. But
what do you think your favorite mechanic or keyword is?
okay, man. Honestly, I think I'm just gonna go like prowess, just because it's like a lot more fair. And like I know like technically like there are a lot of like prowess things that aren't exactly prowess that work around it, but like stuff like oh yeah, just like getting the value of I can play spells and they're also doing a little bit extra, so I don't have to like beat myself up for being like oh, I took a turn to be reactive. It's like no, I also got like this nice little dude out of it. Okay, I also got like a little bit of buff so I can like start punching in. It's very good.
Hmm. Uh, uh, what is your favorite draft format of all time? You think?
Okay, so draft. So honestly, I'm gonna go with what was the unset from then with the uh with the cards that can be put onto each other and like mixed together. I can't remember. Is that
Oh,
unstable? I
is
think
that
that might be
unstable?
unstable.
I think it's unstable.
Yeah, because I should have put MTG
The
after this Google search. Yeah, that's unstable because I drafted it a good amount of times and I was surprisingly good at it, and it was just like wacky without being so wacky that like because like the early onsets are just like, and I play like Poopy McFartface that does a thing in every turn and this just annoying, and like while these actually felt like it was supposed to be drafted.
Yeah, make you have a staring contest or like Goblin Mime. When you speak, sacrifice Goblin Mime. And you're like, ah, cool.
Yeah, like unstable actually
Hmm.
feeling like a good draft set while having like a couple wacky things was very nice. Because I remember like I played a draft where before I went into it, I told my friend, "Hey, I'm going to force the jellyfish mill deck." And so he ended up sitting next to me and saw a couple jellyfish and was just like, I guess I'm not going to take these because my friend said they're going to force them. I ended up with 5 of those in my deck and just like actually efficiently milling people out.
Awesome.
Yeah, I love that stuff.
All right. Well, oh, do you have any apart from the one that you told? Do you have any funny Magic the Gathering stories or like moments where you were like, "Oh, I'm gonna remember this forever, and I'm gonna play Magic because of these moments," or anything like that?
Oh gosh, yeah, I guess I did get to that a little bit earlier because that is like the story that always sticks in my mind of like dumb random magic stuff. But oh god, yeah, I can't think of any other ones off the top of my head right now. Actually, I'm sorry.
I could tell one,
Sure.
which is like maybe a Magic horror story, but has really stuck with us. You were playing a Commander game,
Oh
and
fuck! Oh, you're going to talk about something you weren't there for that I told you about. I think.
yeah,
Okay, I can say what it was then.
yeah, go ahead.
Okay, cool. But yeah, so I was playing a Commander game at my friend's house, and we were in a board state where I had basically no creatures on board, and like one person had a good amount, and like both the other players had a little bit less. So the person with the most is like, well, I'm just not gonna attack you and like stuff like that. And it's like, but like if you look at it, like my defense is, if you look at it, like I'm getting like no value out of this, so I should probably blasphemous act this board. And then he straight up tells me, if you blasphemous act, I'm gonna punch you in the neck. And I'm just like, in my head, I'm like, he has to be joking, right? I still think it's the best thing for me to blasphemous act here. So I cast a spell, and I get fucking punched in the neck. And I'm just like, what the fuck? How
Yeah,
the fuck does this happen?
yeah, MTG horror stories.
Yeah. The fun thing is, I'm actually still friends with him nowadays because, like, it,
Yeah.
yeah, like, end up figuring things out. But, like, I still don't think he was justified for doing that moment because, like,
Oh,
yeah, I think 9 times out of 10, not even 9 times, like 99 times out of 100, if you tell somebody, hey, I'm going to hit you if you do, like, this thing, like, while you're playing a game for fun, you're probably not actually going to hit them if you do that. Or
yeah,
if you do, you're going to, like, do, like, a little, like, small punch.
yeah.
But no, I got
To
full
wrap
on
up,
neck punch. He,
yeah, to wrap up the podcast, I have a funny Hearthstone story. I don't know if you remember this. That's
oh,
relevant to the
God.
story. But we were playing a game. Morgan and I used to be on a collegiate like Hearthstone team,
Yeah.
and we were playing our match, and the opponent had what was it, undeveloped Elec,
Augmented Elec.
or yeah, I don't remember the name of the card.
I believe it was called
Uh,
Augmented Elec.
Augmented Elec, and what it did was every time you cast a spell, it would shuffle it back into their deck,
I
and
think it was. I think this one
much like
was
a
it was like a
tell,
death rattle, like it
yeah,
remembers it until it dies.
yeah, no, that's what it was, and every time we cast a spell into the thing, Morgan and I and the third teammate would over the Discord call just go, Elec will remember that.
Yep, just like the Telltale games, and it just
Yeah,
became such a good meme overall. And
yeah,
I think honestly, like what that says about card games is like you just gotta like remember that like it's not always about like the coolest plays and the biggest stuff. It's the little moments you make with the friends, like while you're just like shitting around with the game, that are the most fun moments.
yeah. No, I found it very fitting that the full name to Magic is Magic the Gathering, because
Yeah,
it really is about gathering like-minded or different people together, and despite those differences, sitting down and playing a game of Magic. And I think that it's very wholesome and very uplifting that
yeah.
even in a world as chaotic as the world we live in, we can all sit down and talk about this card game that we love.
Man.
And on that sappy note, this is the Militia Madness crew signing out.
Ba-da-da-ba-da-ba.